Hey guys, it's Renee. How are you? So, I don't know that this is a funny story, but it's just a thing that happened. So, I was watching this video about being Delulu for 30 days. I don't remember the name of the content creator, but I like the video. So, if I find it on TikTok, I will post it here. And she talked about just being Delulu for 30 days, releasing the shame and just putting yourself out there. Now, I post every now and then when the spirit moves me, which is not very often for anybody who is still, unfortunately, following my channel. So I decided that I was going to be Delulu for 30 days. And I recognize that it's the middle of the month, but hey, like when the time strikes, the time strikes. And when it is your time, nothing will impede that journey into what the universe and God has in store for you. So I'm saying that because I just recorded this video on TikTok, and it's just my first mm, ever 10-minute video, which I thought I was going to have to just fill with like a bunch of nonsense to get to 10 minutes. And it turns over apparently the gift of gab. And I can speak forever. And the 10 minutes was just not enough. However, I was playing around with some of the effects in the editing process, and the video that I uploaded to my TikTok is nowhere to be found. It's just the first, like, maybe 30 seconds of the editing, and I am flabbergasted, befuddled, nonplussed. So I linked my YouTube channel to my TikTok page just on the off chance that someone wishes to follow up with the video, and I'm now re-recording, but that's okay because this is day number 2 of my 30-day challenge, and it is my aim to stay consistent and to actually post for 30 days because I'm going to do the things that I say I'm going to do. I'm going to keep promises to myself and not just to other people, right? That's where we are. Anyways, so let's do this again. Rewind, come again, pull up, as we say in the Caribbean and the dance hall. Not that I would know anything about that because I was raised in a strictly Christian household and we were never allowed to do those things. But here we are, here we are. So, as I mentioned in that video, I am on vacation in Sri Lanka, and this is in celebration of my 44th birthday. And as part of that celebration, I was attempting to streamline my travel experiences by minimizing the amount of stuff that I brought with me because, girly, it was gender non-conforming, the they, thems, she's, he's. I am that person who brings 2+ suitcases, all the makeup, which is not even a sampling of what I own, and a bunch of fragrances just for the option to layer and or change my mind, as it's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. So I'm attempting to still keep that same energy, but in a more streamlined manner. With that being said, okay, oopsie, I brought only small versions of things in an attempt to actually use up some of these travel size things instead of ignoring them. We'll see how it goes. I still have a couple of days left. I head to Singapore shortly. And by shortly, I mean tomorrow. And then back to the States thereafter. But we are on this Delulu journey. So this is day number 2. Let's get at it. All right. So we are not going to talk about. the fragrance oils, but we will talk about the fragrances. So we will start with this. This is Holiday by Maison des Animaux. Now, this is a brand that was introduced to me via TikTok, and my goodness, just from the name, I knew I had to get in it. I love an animalic fragrance, deep, dark, hearty, hospital even. It's never too much for me, baby. I love a dark musk. I love a stinky oud. Listen, listen. The people on the motherland, the subcontinent, the sub, not a sub, the continent of Africa, as well as Asia, because that's where the Middle East is. Wear oud in the high heat. You will never ever convince me that this is not the appropriate weather for oud. With that being said, this doesn't have any oud, but it's just a preface for some of the things that I have here. This is called Holiday. This reminds me the most perfect caipirinha cocktail with an emphasis on the brown sugar. This is actual brown sugar, not syrup, nothing. This is demerara or turbinado sugar in wrapped around a white rum with the fizz from the carbonation from the soda, as well as a little hint of freshness from the mint. And I love it. And there probably is some woods or something at the base of this fragrance. Um, you can tell I love it because it is done. It is done. And it was in danger before I even came on this vacation. This getaway has secured the bag. It it's been eliminated. I got my money's worth. Now, I also like the packaging. For a small brand, they're doing a bang up job of the packaging to the point that I have finished this. I don't intend to throw it away. I'm literally just going to scrape the label off. And actually, now that I'm filming this video, I'll just go ahead and start that process. I'm going to scrape the label off and I'm going to repurpose this container to a friend of mine whom I occasionally send decants to. And I'm going to utilize this container after I have washed it out. Second fragrance from that house that I brought with me. I do have some others that I bought to try out, but this is Beltane. And I have to say, despite the fact that Holiday is done, Beltane is probably my favorite of the travel sizes because I have two others that are not in a travel size. I'll do a house overview. Whatever, we're not getting into it here. But let's talk about Beltane. Beltane is a deep, dark, resinous lab denim heavy. Lab denim heavy. So if the amber that you like is powdery, sugary, sweet, this is not for you. This has a leathery nuance to it that feels almost like petrol or pleather. It is that squeaky leather, but like kind of faux leather rather. That vegan leather, I believe, is now the more appropriate term. But it is sort of smooth with resinous balsamic tinge to it. It's not very sweet, but it is sweet enough. And I love it. I mean, clearly, this is in danger, 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 Will Robinson, danger. It'll probably be done before the end of this vacation, and I'm not mad at it. I wear this alone, but I also wear it as a layering fragrance. Speaking of things that are clearly in danger, we will go here. This is Jeroboam Gozo. This is my third bottle of this beauty, and I cannot regret it. I will continue to use it. I have a 100 ml because they have upgraded the sizes for some of these fragrances now. A 100 ml of Gozo, um, ready. lock, stock, loaded, right? Because this bad boy gets me pulled back. What are you wearing, ma'am? It gets people putting their faces in my neck. It gets the people curious. The masses want to know. And I listen, I'm not mad at it. I understand. This is a beautiful, creamy, slightly bubblegum tuberose wrapped around a lightly balmy feel. I believe there's ylang ylang in here. If not, it may not be listed in the notes, but I get that balminess that you get from ylang ylang with a light banana feeling as well as like this sort of play doughy burr base, which probably indicates that there's some benjoin in here. I love this. Love this. Again, you need not take my word for it. As I said, this is my third bottle and it is in danger. It will be done before go back home to the States. It will be done. Sometimes when I'm feeling like I want everybody to know that I'm that chick, I do mix Jeroboam with Beltane to amp up the ambery base that this fragrance has. Ain't nobody ever complained, my love. Nobody has ever complained. And if they have a complaint, take it up with management. He up there. Don't come talk to me. All right. I'm speaking of things that are in danger. This is Maison Privé, Dior Privé, rather. Dior Privé, and this is Amber Nuit. Now, I will say that I liked this fragrance. It's almost done. It probably will be done before the end of this vacation. And this is one of those times where I am happy that I got a travel size and not just blind bought the full bottle. Because two things. I have a fragrance that is very similar in profile to this, which is Xerjoff's um 40 knots, which is part of the Join the Club collection. It's in the blue bottles with the gold top. And number two, I happen to prefer the Xerjoff version of this scent profile more than I like Amber Nuit from Dior. That's nothing on Amber Nuit. It is a perfectly lovely fragrance. It's a beautiful rose with a lovely ambery base to it. It's just that the marine sort of like minerally notes that are in here are amped up in here more so than they are in the Xerjoff's 40 Knots fragrance. Um, Beautiful fragrance. It is quite beautiful. I can appreciate the artistry. It's just not for me, but it will be done. I wear this alone because I do love the rose and the amber that is in here, but minerality of it, along with the marine notes, really are just a little bit much for me. However, sometimes, because I'm that chick, I do wear it in combination with holidays, which is one of the reasons holiday is done. And another reason why this is also soon to be finito. All right. As mentioned, I do have some perfume oils that I have for layering, but that can be a separate video. We're not going to get into that right now. All right. So, um, to finish up, speaking of the oud that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is Kingmaker by the world of Chris Collins. Have three or four, I think, maybe however many ouds he has. I have them in the travel size. This is Lust in the Chris Collins travel set, travel atomizer, travel case. And then this is Kingmaker. Kingmaker is a beautiful, opulent rose oud fragrance. Now, I know there are those who are over the whole rose oud thing. I am not one of them. I love, I'm not a fan of rose, but I love a good oud. I love a good oud. And this is just the type of oud that I love, or one of the types of ouds that I love. It is a little bit pungent, however, very, very smooth. It feels like silk, and there is a tinge of a chocolatey effect to the oud in this, with an ambery base and a beautiful full-bodied rose that almost feels like red wine. I wore that to dinner. So, by the way, this is a California rosé for those who are curious as to what I'm sipping on. I wore it to dinner, so I will say that despite the fact that the humidity gets to too much, whatever the concentration, it's too much. But for those who desire a number, it is anywhere between 70% to 90 something percent humidity here in Sri Lanka. And the temperatures range between 32 Celsius to 36, which is around like 85, 86-ish to like 90 something degrees Fahrenheit. Um, so it is quite warm and it is quite humid, which has me sweating in places that I am deeply, deeply uncomfortable with, and has me showering multiple times a day because I cannot have my card rejected because the hygiene game is not on point, right? Got to represent for my people. My hygiene is on point. With that being said, um, you also cannot convince me, as I said in the beginning of this video, the oud and things of that nature are not meant for this climate. Like, you can't convince me. The folks of the in that space between the African and the Asian continent that we affectionately called the Middle East because we are rooted in white supremacy and this Western idea of civilization. But that's not this video, right? But the folks in the Middle East and some parts of Africa, as well as Southeast Asia, because you have Cambodian oud, you've got Laotian oud, you've got Thai oud, right? Like, right? These things don't originate in the Middle East. They are simply most used there. They're exported from other people's countries, right? These people who utilize these things in abundance within the confines of their country live in tropical climates, live in very warm and humid climates, and they wear oud. So you cannot convince me that this is not the appropriate time and place and weather for oud, right? With that being said, I wore Kingmaker to dinner. So it was in a climate controlled environment, in the cool of the evening. It's like 80 something degrees outside in the cool, right? The humidity is down to like maybe 70%, right? As opposed to 90 something percent during the day. The cool of the evening, as well as more imperatively, the climate controlled nature of where I was sitting at the time. And yeah, it was beautiful. It was amazing. In fact, it's a great fragrance by itself. And then I wore it in conjunction with Beltane to amp up the ambery base, as well as that like petrolic, petrichor slash like vinyl leather type of feel that Beltane has at the base. They go together like white on rice, babes. It was a match made on my skin. All right, last two things, and then we'll wrap it up because I would like to go to bed. I have had a 16 plus hour day exploring Sri Lanka. And guys, I'm tired. I'm I'm tired. I want to wash my face. I want to take a shower. I want to hop in that bed. That's all that's on the agenda. So, with that being said, for my probable bedtime fragrance tonight, which has been my bedtime fragrance for several nights, is Tuberose by Olibana. This is a 50 ml fragrance. I believe I mentioned it in a tuberose fragrance that has got me in a chokehold video that I have never posted. So perhaps that will be my next video up. Who knows? Um, this is as close as I have in my collection to a tuberose solid flower. And this is all the aspects of tuberose. It starts with that like greeny portion of the tuberose that like feels like the stem, like not quite the stem, but that, when you see a white flower and you have that light green into that creamy aspect as it goes up, and then you've got the creamy white petals. This is what that starts with. And then there's a slight green aspect that represents to me the stem of the plant. And then there is this beautiful heady slash sort of vintage, timeless tuberose. But she is unapologetic. She stands out. She takes no prisoners, and I love her. I wear her by herself, but most often I wear her up the tuberose in some of my other fragrances, or excuse me, or to add a hint of tuberose where I am missing it because confession, tuberose has had me in a chokehold for like the last year, 2 years. I don't know. I went from a floral hater and specifically a tuberose hater, like loathed, loathed to now. Oh, it's got tuberose in it? Can you holler at me a second? Holler at me. And now why I've never before smelled tuberose. However, in Sri Lanka, the majority of the population are Sinhalese people, and the Sinhalese people are Buddhist. And when they go to the temple to worship Buddha and to request a blessing, they bring flowers, and one of the flowers that they bring are tuberose petals. So I have had the occasion to smell the tuberose flower. It smells like this. Beautiful. And last, but certainly not least, just for this video, is this fragrance by Fuegia, and this is Tinta Roja. I got this on my most recent trip to Japan because, again, I'm obsessed with tuberose, obsessed. And it is absolutely beautiful. This is a clean, soapy tuberose, a very clean tuberose, mixed around a beautiful, sort of neutral vanilla extract, right? You've got the dusty, musty vanillas, you've got the boozy vanillas, and then you also have the vanillas that smell like straight food. This is none of those things. It's just a regular, degular vanilla. It smells like the vanilla from the vanilla bean pod. So it sort of smells like a tuberose with a hint of clean soapiness that has been blended into a creamsicle. And I find it to be delectable. Oh my God. I think this and this actually might be my bedtime scent. And I was just in Japan in August. It's the end of August, rather. It's now November. Like I really haven't had not worn it because it's a 30 mil and this thing where with the things that I love, I just don't wear them. I don't know why. I just don't wear them because I need to preserve them. And then added in that this is a 30 mil because it's frightfully expensive. Frightfully expensive. The price that I paid for this 30 mil, I don't even want to say. And so I got it, I put it away, and I've just been taking it out and sniffing it and then putting it back. But I decided that I need to start wearing these things. And so here we are. And I have been wearing it. I've got a little bit of a dent in it. And I've been enjoying it. And it has been getting a lot of wear out here in Sri Lanka. What can I say? You know, we're doing a thing. There's not been a single complaint. I was staring, but not a single complaint. And if there is a complaint between you and me, they can take it up with management because that ain't none of my business. All right, guys, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for the few who are perchance still watching my channel, given how infrequently I post. I'm aiming to be a little bit more consistent in the next 30 days. We'll see how I do on this challenge. Enjoy.